Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here and welcome to this week's episode of The Knife Guy. So what are we talking about today? What is the Knife Guy? Who is the Knife Guy? Well, the Knife Guy is me, obviously, but it's also you. I think most people get that, you know. I've kind of talked about my idea behind this Knife Guy, sort of like it's kind of like a podcast, but it's just really just me standing over a table full of knives and talking and saying whatever I think. Those of you who have been around for a bit know that I got this idea and said it, way back when I started this series, almost 200 episodes ago. I said I got this idea from Jim Skelton because he used to do knife rambles. And I loved those. And I'm sure that there are many people in here who used to watch those. I mean, some of those are 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. I used to sit back and watch this guy talk over a table of knives, and I would look at this stuff and think, what is this? Where did that come from? What on earth? And I would dig into his channel and I'd try to figure out, where did this knife come from? Where's the video where he talks about this knife, right? But whatever it was he was talking about was interesting. But at the same time, my brain was doing another thing. I was being entertained in two completely different ways, right? And for some reason, that type of content was very stimulating to me, and I enjoyed it. I decided I wanted to try it, not like to generate a bajillion views. I honestly don't remember what type of views he was getting off of it. I just thought this is very entertaining, and I wonder what it's like to be on the other side of this and just sort of talk. And I found that I think I kind of understand, why he does this. It's just as stimulating, if not more stimulating, to talk about it, right? And so I did, and it this series has never been like, oh man, like this is the Metal Complex channel's defining content, right? It's not, this is far from the, most interacted with series, right? I do it because I enjoy doing it, and because there are certain people who enjoy coming back and listening to it, every Sunday. But the purpose of this I don't think it started this way, but as it progressed, it definitely became about something else. Obviously, Knife Guy's about a whole bunch of different stuff. I've tried to choose topics. If you're new, right? I've talked about this before, but if you're new and you're never really sure, you're like, I tune into this, but I don't really understand what the heck the whole point is. I'll try and lay it out for you. I try to choose topics that are relatable, right? I try to stay out of drama. Periodically, there's something that just is unavoidable and we got to talk about it a little bit. But for the most part, stay out of drama. I talk about the things that I have been thinking about throughout the week based on the interactions that I've had with the community, right? And when, a huge chunk of the community is all talking about one thing, or there's some new this or that has implications over here or there, then I like to talk about it, right? We don't generally come to any conclusions. There's nothing definitive at the end of these Knife Guy episodes, but it's fun to think about, right? So this is a window into my head. The other thing that I realized is, how often, it's the most common thing, right? Outsiders. That sounds really, I shouldn't say that. People who are not like long-term knife enthusiasts, if they get a peek into this world, it doesn't matter who they're peeking in on, right? It's all weird, right? And you think, what on earth? What causes these people to become so obsessed? Like they're like they're actually a huge community, and they get so, riled up about the smallest little tiny things, right? There's this one guy called Metal Complex who has this weird, it's almost like knife church every Sunday morning, and he preaches and people watch and listen. What the heck is going on? I've realized that Knife Guy, if you come to my channel and you're like looking for something specific or you're just trying to understand where to start, and you're like, well, some people say watch Metal Complex, but the dude's got 3,000 uploads. I'm kind of just overwhelmed by this amount of content. I have no idea. He's got multiple videos that say top 10 best of the what's in, I don't even know. Then he's got another one, but it's the exact same thing, but the knives are different. So, okay, obviously, okay, well, so his taste has changed over time based on, new releases, this or that. But I just have no idea where to start. It's a lot of content. Yeah, that's difficult. I don't have an answer for you. But I guess for people trying to understand, right, how, people get into this and then become very, very dedicated to the community, but very obsessed, right, with this hobby, which can be, very beneficial, and it can also be, as we've talked about before, very financially destructive, very distracting, right? Retail therapy and different types of, coping methods for this or that. You have to recognize that stuff. But anyways, the Knife Guy is a nearly 200-part series that literally displays my way of thinking, my thought process as it evolves. It's literally sort of little half-hour installments of me. It's not like I started being a knife enthusiast at episode 1. I was well into the journey, but it's video documentation of my mindset, 30 minutes of it at a time over the course of, the channel's 5 years old, but I think I started Knife Guy, in the second year. So it's like over 4 years, right? And I like that. I think, all things are destined, not only are, all things are destined to come to an end, right? And the internet's way of dropping the guillotine is, I think there's a few different scenarios. You get, you can get canceled, right? Which is real shaky. You never know, right? Because it's like if you have a particular mindset, that's innocent at the current time, then 10 years later it might not be viewed that way. It might be viewed as extremely offensive or this. I don't know, right? It's just like you look at Disney movies. We're getting off track here, which is par for the course. You look at Disney movies and watch Disney movies as a kid. And you're just like, yeah, it's a fun movie. And then, like, years down the road, you don't realize, and some people are going to disagree with me. That's fine. I really don't want to get into this. But looking back at some of those movies, I'm like, oof, some of those messages were not the best. But we took them, as like, oh, yeah, this is the way to be. But some people watching, they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with it, this, that, right? But you're always going to have differing opinions. There's nothing that's going to be absolute. But things can be brought to an end. Through just like that type of stuff. Hopefully the idea is I think that people evolve. I think once you stop evolving, when people are like, I'm a creature of habit and I'm stuck in my way. It's like, well, if that's the case, then there's no more room for progression. So the natural outcome of this is that the population you seek audience with will leave you behind. And this is a factual thing, right? If you get to a point where you are completely and totally unwilling to change or think differently, right? At least, I'm not saying you have to conform with everyone, right? Because there's always different audiences finding more or less appeal with this or that. But for certain, when you do that whole creature of habit thing and I'm stuck in my ways and I'm never going to change and I'm never going to think any differently, this is how I want it. As soon as you do that, as soon as you decide to do that, you're basically done. That's just the hard truth. People, just generally as time progresses find that type of stuck in one place behavior less and less and less appealing, right? And I think some people intentionally lock themselves in that cage and hang on to the keys for whatever reason, right? It's their own reason. I'm not here to judge anybody, right? But anyways, I'm getting off track here. But there's always going to be, it's the internet, right? So no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, there's always going to be some people who just, they don't understand it to a point where they're going to cringe at it, right? When I think of stuff that makes me cringe, it's not this. This is stuff that I enjoy. But there are definitely other things that I've seen, like the other communities on the internet, You know, there's other stuff that's like kind of like in the same ballpark of what I do, like the watch community. Oh, okay, I can understand that. And then you go to the firearms community, and I can understand that, right? And you know, there's different types of people there. And then you go way to the other side, and there's like communities that are enjoying things that are very alien to me, and I'm like, ooh, this is bizarre. And I have to remember that's going to be the case with other people coming from yet even different communities and coming over here and seeing how people like me get super duper crazy riled up about pocket knives, right? And they're like, ugh, that's just the case, right? I think some creators like are constantly in fear of putting themselves out there and then having, you know, some other group of people like be like, oh, cringe. This is a natural part of the environment, right? It just is. It's just here. You're going to have to accept that that's going to be the case. And so the reason I'm saying this is because I periodically, I don't know why I do this, but I go back and I'll watch old episodes of my Knife Guy series just to see, like, I wonder where I was at with this. And I listen to it and I'm like, wow, I hate listening to, I hate this. My mindset has changed dramatically from this, on this specific topic. My mindset has changed. And wow, I hate that. I hate how enthusiastic I'm being about something that I have changed my mind about. That happens periodically. Sometimes I'll go back and listen to it and think, yeah, I still feel that way. Absolutely, right? But, you know, when you go back, okay, this is a terrible thing to do. Don't do it, but I know you're going to do it, right? A lot of you, if you have Facebook or Instagram or whatever, your social media, and you just haven't deleted anything, go back and look at your old posts and your old pictures from the early days. Ooh, temptation to delete that stuff is definitely there. I've looked at some old stuff on like my social media. And I'm like, man, I just hate that this is here. It's not hurting anything, but I hate that it's here. I don't want this old part of me being represented on social media, right? I don't want this here, and my urge to get rid of it. But then I always stop myself. I mean, there's definitely been like times where I've been like, that was just a dumb post, and I've deleted it. But for the most part, I like to leave things the way that they are, right? Whether or not people agree with them, right? Even knowing, like, maybe there is a distant point in the future. To my knowledge, I have never done or said anything that is offensive in any way on the internet. I'm always trying to be very conscious of that. But who knows? In 10 years, the mindsets of people, they change, and they look back and they're like, did you see Metal Complex? Is this old post by Metal Complex is 15, 20 years old, right? Can you believe the audacity of this, right? Even knowing that is, you know, a possibility, I'd rather just leave everything there. I want people to be able to come here and see this is the natural progression of somebody in this community. Well, this is an extreme example of, you know, natural progression of somebody in this community, and this is how they work, right? Even if some people come and be like, oh, this so bad, like this form, maybe this style of content, the way that he's creating it, right? We have this rise of like, short form content. So at some point people are going to go back and be like, can you believe that like this guy used to stand over this tabletop and talk for 25 to 30 minutes and people would actually watch it, right? It's just not just sort of stream of consciousness, right? Can you believe that? Yeah, well, here it is. It's not going to go anywhere. It's here. I want people to see it, whether they hate it, they love it, right? They don't know what to make of it. It's here. Because it's all part of this big story, right? This channel, especially the Knife Guy series, is one long story. And it doesn't always make sense. It's really, you know, because the main... I'm going to refer to myself as the main character. Oh, man. I'm trying to, you know, be able to define all the layers of self-awareness here, right? So I got to pause and make sure I'm saying the right thing or that I'm understanding what I'm talking about. The guy who's creating the content keeps changing his perspective over, let's say every 20 to 30 episodes of The Knife Guy, he seems to change his perspective and gets on a different path, right? So it's like if you were watching a movie or reading a book, like this, the character like develops into this like very solidified, identity. And in reality, it's not that way. People don't like change, but they sort of back off on certain things and lean into other things based on what they're exposed to. And this continues, generally speaking, throughout time. Even with the most stubborn of people, I think people like to project that whole creature of habit and I'm set in my ways attitude. But in reality, as their reality inevitably changes around them because there's nothing they can do about it, they start to, change a little bit themselves, at least internally, right? That's the reality. We don't become like the solidified, like the very, very defined characters that we see in movies. I'm not talking about YouTube creators. I'm talking about everybody. But whatever this is, whatever end it will come to, right? Whether this channel continues on for another 5 to 10 years, or it peters out and becomes irrelevant, or I get canceled for this or that, or whatever it is, the footprint of this channel is what's important to me, right? Here it is. If at some point somebody ever wonders, how did this come to be? Right this way, sir, I actually have a whole bunch of stuff sorted into playlists that can explain exactly how it came to be, right? And that way, if somebody is seeking to learn something, either an example of how not to do something or how to do something or whatever, here it is. Here's the map, right? I like that. I like looking back and seeing that it's all there. All of the stuff that I got right. All of the stuff that I got wrong. All the stuff that I got hilariously wrong. I mean, there's stuff that I have uploaded that is just like not correct. And you go down into the comments section and you see people are like, that's actually wrong. And then you can see me discuss it with them for a second, realize, oh, okay. But it's there, right? I leave that stuff there so that people can see it, right? I think it's I think it's important to do, especially if you're a creator, somebody who uploads a lot of content. You got to leave it there. The temptation to remove it out of embarrassment is present, right? Now, there have definitely been times where I've removed comments, right? It's usually like people intentionally trying to cause a problem, or if they have just some weird wackadoodle take that will, it's just like a cauldron boiling over, and the only thing that can come of it is just more interaction from people who are just as disconnected as the person who left it. If I can see that type of thing start to happen, yeah, then it's gone, right? Or that type of thing. But for the most part, like, if I have a conversation with even sometimes when it's an argument with somebody, and the final conclusion is actually me going, oh yeah, actually, it turns out you're correct. I got to leave that stuff there, right? You have to leave it there. Even if it does make you look bad, right? There are many times that I've uploaded something and missed things, or just given the wrong information. Sometimes it's worth an edit, right? Sometimes if the information is completely and totally incorrect, right? Like if I say that the country of origin is absolutely this, right? And it turns out not to be, then sometimes it's an edit. And there's so much content that sometimes I have to have people tell me, like, hey, did you know that, like, this is what you said in this video? And I know that you know now that's not correct, but I just thought you might want to know that it's still in that video. Sometimes that happens and I have to go, oh, geez, thanks. So now I'll go correct it, right? But it depends on the information. It's not possible to have a perfect, right? Because I'm not a machine. I'm just one guy uploading twice a day. But for the most part, I like to have that there so that people can see, like, this is how he thought, or this is the information he was trying to tell people about, and then somebody corrected him, and he learned from it, right? Very important to just leave that footprint about 98% intact without altering it, right? I think people get super hung up on like trying to present themselves online as, just someone who is so intelligent that they don't make mistakes, or it's just like people's online persona is so crafted, right? It's so perfectly crafted. It's just too much, and it just becomes unbelievable. I like seeing like creators who upload an enormous amount of content where you have these long, where they talk for a long time and it's not edited to give them, the best possible appearance. I like, because then it makes me feel like I know them. Even if I don't agree with them, I'm like, I don't agree with that, or I don't like this part of their personality or whatever. But at least I'm getting the real thing. I'm getting, an honest image, right, of this person, or an honest understanding of this person, where they're coming from. And that way in the future, when they say or do something, I'm like, well, yeah, this is why. I have context on this because of the vast amount of information I have from watching extensive content on this person, right? Anymore, we get these sort like content creators where everything is very short and perfectly edited, and there's just not a lot of I don't know like what to anchor my opinion on, because there's just not enough here, right? So all I'm left to do is just judge this very perfectly crafted sort of wax statue person that's this you know what I mean? So if time progresses and the fate of this channel is to be looked at as something obscure from the past, weird stream of consciousness knife enthusiast who feels like he has to document his every word, right? Felt like he was doing something, felt like he was, making some type of progress towards something in the knife world, but wasn't really. He was just collecting knives and talking about it. If that's the fate of this channel, then so be it. That's fine. But I want to leave it intact. I want to make it is. I want to make it what it is, which is real, right? From start to finish, the actual content. It's just laid bare, right? And that's fine. I like it this way, and you guys have allowed me to make it this way. Somebody in the last was it the last knife guy? They're like, I'm 99% sure that they were joking, but you guys would be surprised. Some of the goofball perspectives, right? I brought up AI, and I knew, I was like, oh, this is a juicy worm for the weird, for some of the weirdos, right? That's okay. We're all weirdos, right? Don't get offended by that. But this one guy was like, I honestly, don't know. Like, you could be AI right now because we never see your hands. And I was like, what? Never see my hands, right? They said because you upload twice a day, there's a good chance you are an AI, and also we don't see your hands. I was like, I'm pretty sure you're joking. But I got to looking at it, and I was like, I honestly can't tell. Does he really think that? I'm at the same pace I was 4 years ago, right? Oh, man. I don't know. Maybe it'll just turn into a big joke, right? I don't even know where I'm at yet anymore with this episode. This is fun. I just looked down and realized we're almost at 24 minutes. I didn't realize I'd been talking that long, but been the same thing for like 200 episodes. Anyways, if you've ever wondered, what the heck is Knife Guy? Who the heck is the Knife Guy? Well, hopefully all of your questions have been answered. Likely not, though. You likely have many more questions after having watched this piece of content. Okay, that's going to be it for today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.